Did you get that? 404-218-1234. Lawrence Prescott Photography. Yo, my brethren, big up.
You're looking for a home? You're looking for land? Look no further. Elite Realty Dominica got you covered. Whether it's to buy a home or build a home or just an investment property, contact Nicole London at 888-860-2366. That's 888-860-2366. Or you can log on to DominicaEliteRealty.com for all your inquiries and questions. Elite Realty Dominica, where exquisite living is defined by nature.
Tune into Unplugged.
And the rosebuds know the bloom in early May. Just as hate knows love's the cure, you can rest your mind assured that I'll be loving you always. As around the sun, the earth knows she's revolving, and the rosebuds know the bloom in early May. Just as hate knows love.
Hey now, hey now, hey. This is Stacy with Reading to Feed the Mind. Join us every Wednesday, 6:30.
Now can't reveal the mystery of tomorrow, but in passing we'll grow older every day. Just as all that's born is new, do know what I say is true, that I'll be loving you always. Until the rainbow burns the sun in the sky. Always. Until the ocean covers every mountain high. Always. Until the dolphin flies and everything that's seen. Always. Like the night becomes a dream. Did you know that true love asks for nothing? Her acceptance is the way we pay. Did you know that life is giving love a guarantee to last forever another day? Just as time knew to move on since the beginning, and the seasons know exactly when we change. Just as kindness knows no shame, nothing for your joy and pain, but I'll be loving you always. That's the day I know I'm living, but tomorrow could make me the past, but that I mustn't fear. For I'll know deep in my mind the love of me I've left behind, 'cause I'll be loving you always. Until the day is night and night becomes a day. Always. Until the breathing ceases to stop and fly away. Always. Until the day that he can make I made it for. Always. Until the day that is the day that I know more. Did you know you loved by somebody? Always. I'll be loving you forever. Always.
Hey now, hey. This is Stacy with Reading to Feed the Mind. Join us every Wednesday, 6:30 to 7:30, as we talk about various authors, books, and everything around reading and literacy. Hey now, hey now, hey, it's me, it's Stacy. Welcome to another episode of Reading to Feed the Mind. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you're new to our show, we talk about everything literacy. We talk about different books, and we have authors that we interview, and again, we just talk about everything literacy. But you know what today, y'all? I just don't know, because I got a lot on my heart, and I might just talk. Y'all might be in my counseling session today. I may use this episode today just to talk about life right now, because Everybody is feeling it. It's a bunch of stuff going on. My day was going good, and then some things happened, and it didn't get off track, but I finally got some stuff off my chest, and I can't say I feel better, but it's just for y'all that don't know me, I'll be 58 next month, and I think I finally have just gotten to the point where I'm like, forgive the expression, fuck it. Thank you, 58, yes, that'll be me. I don't feel it. It's a different kind of thing, but I just pray that God has it in his plan that I will live to see it. So I always say, God willing, the creek don't rise. I will be 60 in a couple of years, but I will be 58, in a few weeks. But anyway, so with that, that's why I do this podcast, because in this part of my life, I'm just about trying to live the best way that I can, right? And growing up, I was always the positive, trying to be nice and kind. I'd get beat up in elementary school because, I was the one trying to do things right. It didn't make sense to me, but, Debbie Reynolds, Cascade Elementary. No, I should have done that. Yes, I should have. Debbie Reynolds and Barbara Head and who else? Barbara would be my friend sometime, then she'd still be a part of the bullying team. I can't name them all, but those two, especially Debbie Reynolds, she would give me hell, y'all. And I would go, why? Well, you just don't do nothing. You just don't whatever. Anyway, so, our childhood, we carry a lot of that, into adulthood. If we're honest with ourselves, a lot of our issues in our lives today has a lot to do with our experiences as a child. And so I was always taught, because I had a very strong mother, I'm an Aries, which we're supposed to be, aggressive and leaders and all of this. And I am to an extent, but a lot of times I have allowed people to push me down, push me, mellow me, probably more than I should have been mellowed, which has caused me throughout my life to bury feelings and emotions, right? And then they come to a head. And I think that's what has been happening to me, because what's her name has that song, you don't want this smoke. And people won't understand when I tell them, right now in my life, you really don't want this smoke. Because, I've had so much. I've experienced a lot of things in the work environment and in my personal life and throughout my life. And it's like I'm really at that point in life, y'all, where it's like you don't want that smoke. And I think what I'm doing moving forward now, because I do try to keep the peace and I try to let things go, just let it go. And even my daughter is just like, no, that just don't make no sense. Some things you just need to say, but how we were raised that everything is not worth dealing with, pick your battles and things like that. But I think I took it to another extreme. And, I'm always trying to, do better or let things go and pass when people, really trying to cut low or whatever. And I just can't do that anymore. So I may lose a lot of people out of my life, but that's okay, because it's really, at this phase, it's all about me. And it's all about my mental health. And, I'm sure a lot of people are at this stage as well. Because, again, what I have to realize at this age, I was thinking about this. I had my feelings hurt years ago. I was watching Oprah. And I don't know if I had quite turned 40 yet, or I may have just recently turned 40. And Sting and his wife were on an episode of Oprah. And like I said, I can't remember if I was in my later 30s, almost 40, or if I had just turned 40. And I think they had just turned, at that time, like around 50 or so. And they were sitting there and they were talking about, enjoying life and how they're trying to make sure that this phase of their life, they are enjoying it because, and they said this and almost fell out, they said because we recognize we got more years behind us than we do ahead. And I grabbed my chest, my pearls, and I was like, oh my God, that is really true. And this is something y'all need to think about. If you at 30, you know, you probably got another 30 or so years. But when you hit 40, that's when you start going, because who's to say you got 40 more ahead? That's when you start skating on that thin ice. And God knows at 58 and 60, we are saying, whoa. So that's why I do my podcast. And I try to make sure that whatever I'm doing in my life, it's something that I thoroughly enjoy and I'm having a good time. And I have, in the last few years, have definitely been washing myself of environments and people who don't feed into that same energy, right? And I've been doing that for a while. I've really been doing it over the last couple of years. And I've left jobs. Because it's like, look, if it's one thing about me, I have great work ethics. I'm not perfect. You know, I will get in there late some days. But when it comes to making sure that my job that you paying me for gets done, I do that. I spend nights, I spend weekends trying to get jobs done. And then I still have to debate with people over simple stuff, right? And just, my last job, those people were so damn toxic. I only lasted 14 weeks. And I was like, goodbye. I had to go. Yes, it's hard. Yes, I might DoorDash now or do some Instacart. But I do it, and it's still a lot more peace than having to sit on somebody's job and deal with a lot of toxicity, right? And so that's what it's about. Whatever time I have left, I want it to be spent in the best way possible with the best people possible. And throughout my life, I've had to learn just to let go of stuff and people, again, that are toxic, you know? And especially now, y'all, in this environment that we're in now, you know, with the uncertainty of everything. We don't know what's going to be here next year this time, and that's scary. And, you know, but I trust in God, yes. But you know what? We can trust in God is all we want to, y'all. But hear me when I say this. God is up there, but he has given us free will, right? We have free will. And I shared this on my TikTok page. I was reading my Bible, and because I've said this before, we're doing through the Bible in a year. And we were reading Exodus. And if you all are familiar with the whole, you know, the first part of Exodus, and really all of Exodus is about when the Israelites had been enslaved in Egypt, right? And Pharaoh was treating, so just a little what I picked up that doesn't get talked about a whole lot, but what the whole reason why they were enslaved was because years before what had happened, when the first Pharaoh, not the Pharaoh that was imprisoning them, there was another Pharaoh, and Joseph, there was a famine that they knew was coming. So Joseph created, you know, he made sure that they had a lot of food stored up so that when the famine hit, people would have a food source, right? And so they had the food source. And so what Joseph would do, he was selling it. You know, he would sell everybody the food. So they made sure everybody was eating. There was a food supply for everybody. So when the money was running low, people started giving their livestock for the food. And then when people were running out of livestock and they didn't have any money, they went to Joseph and Pharaoh, and was like, Joseph, and was like, hey, let us be your servants. Let us work the land, be servants to you so that we can have food to eat. And they had a whole agreement, almost like indentured servants in Europe. Well, that's a little different. It wasn't like that. I take that back. But So that's what they did. So then when that Pharaoh passed away and Joseph and all of those people died, when the new administration, kind of what we going through now, when the new administration came in, they were extremely abusive to the people. And they really, truly enslaved them and treated them badly. So that's what was going on when Moses, when Moses came along, and then God gave Moses instruction on freeing, let my people go. So I said all that. I gave you the backstory. So now what was going on when you read and you know how God told Moses to give Pharaoh the message and said, if you don't let them go so that they can come worship me, I'll bring flies. I think he started with flies first. And then he was like, okay. He told Pharaoh the message, but he hardened Pharaoh's heart. God hardened his heart. So if you all know the story, it was flies, then it was blood in the water, then the locusts and the snake, all of these things God kept doing. And he would have Moses to warn Pharaoh. And then Pharaoh would say, okay, but then God would harden his heart and then he wouldn't do it. So when you read through and you're reading just repeatedly, and it's like, well, God hardened Pharaoh's heart. Pharaoh would say, okay, and then and I kept going. One night we had read, and I was like, well, why would God keep hardening Pharaoh's heart? If he said, okay, and he would be willing to do it, why would God harden his heart? And I went to sleep with that thought. And I promise you, I woke up the next morning with that thought, y'all. And this is what God put on my heart. He said, God was hardening his heart, but Pharaoh still had free will to do right, to choose right. That although God was hardening his heart, Pharaoh had the free will and the choice to say, hey, wait a minute. No, I know I'm king, but I don't want all of this. And obviously, there is a God that I just really need to find out more about. Moses is telling me this, and all of this stuff comes true. None of my prophets and magicians and everything else can do anything about it. So there's a God up there. I need to, no matter what I'm thinking, I know I'm king or whatever. I need to release all that. So I said that all to say, we can't sit back and just go, God is going to take control and God is going to do whatever. He's only going to do so much, you all, because we still have free will. We had free will to look at this situation, for those of us who feel that way. Some of y'all agree with what's going on, but we have the free will to do more. And then if we don't do it, we don't spread the word, if we don't do the work, right, then God will let whatever happens. And so that's something we got to think about. So when we're talking and we see things like the boycott against Target, and we sitting there, well, what's that really gonna do? Why we need to do that? You still gonna buy. We got to do something. So if it's not that, you still need to find something to get the message across and really be honest with yourself, because what's going on makes no sense and you can't justify that. You can't. But, all I'm saying is we can't sit back and just, God ain't going to let, because we got free will. And do we trust him enough to fight? We can't just sit back. Well, I trust in God and God gonna take care of it. But we got some things we can do too. And if he presents us with opportunities to do stuff and we don't, then it's gonna be what it's gonna be, right? Because it's all about showing him that we truly believe and showing him that we truly trust in him. And that's what it's all about. It took me forever. And if y'all follow me and look at my post, I posted it that morning when it came to me. It took me forever to see that. But I see it now. It's like you truly have to trust and hear what he's saying when he says it, because it's quick, it's quiet, and it's simple. He's not gonna keep beating you across the head with it, because you, first of all, should have the knowledge to do it and to be aware of it, and then move in the way he tells you to move. So that's it. I'm gonna get off my pedestal, but we cannot just only say that we trust in God. When opportunities for us to come and do something presents itself, to do something to fight against what's right, we have to do that. So, and then also what, another thing that just, hey, Tracy Gonzalez, how you doing? Hey, Tracy. So another thing that came to me, I was fortunate enough to participate in this whole, people synergist PSI seminars, people synergistically involved. And that was a deep, my girlfriend, she passed away, God rest her soul. She got all of us involved, and she got involved with it, and she would just, oh my God, y'all gotta look at this, y'all gotta get into this. And what it was PSI seminars. And you would go to what they called the basic, right? And it basic was a weekend of just deep thinking. It was just beyond this world, right? So you find yourself in a room with people, and the whole message that you get out of that weekend is that we're all synergistically involved. We're all connected. We're all spiritually connected. And if you look in the Bible and you look at the words that Jesus was telling us, everything he did, we're supposed to have power to do, right? So that we can connect to each other spiritually, and we can heal people. We can, in prayer and believing and touching and seeing, we can all come together synergistically and connect to each other and do this thing. We played the red and black game. I'm calling it the red and black. It has a couple of different names. But basically, the way this game goes, and it's a lot around what we're going through today, the way this game goes is that you have a group in one room and you have a group in another room. And so before you go into the game, we discuss how everybody can win. Throughout this world, if we all work together, there's enough for everybody, and everybody can win. But the way the game is structured, it's like and it's been some years since I played it, but it's basically you going in the game, everybody can win, but you're choosing and you're trying to guess what the other group is going to, you have different answers, and you try to guess what the other group is going to say. And so what it becomes this competitive thing. Because what happens is the majority of everybody in the room forgets that everybody can win, and it becomes more about who's going to win, right? And so rather than saying, okay, wait, it has to be this answer because everybody can win, I played the game twice in two different settings. And literally what happens is the majority of the group forgets that everybody is supposed to win. And you have maybe 2 or 3 people in the group that remembers. But those 2 or 3 people that knows it, instead of really standing up to say, wait, no, don't select that, because remember now, everybody can win, they either sit quietly or they get pushed aside and don't speak out. And when the game is over, you got one team that does win, and they all excited because they can win. But then what happens, they come back and say, but everybody was supposed to win. And it's hilarious because those people who push to win start to feel so bad, and they literally get mad. I promise you, it happened in 2 different settings. And the second time, I laughed, but then I felt bad because I was amongst the few who knew that, wait a minute, everybody is supposed to win, but then we find ourselves getting caught up trying to outwin, be the winner over everything. So, and that's another point around that whole, okay, we see what's going on, but we not going to fight. We're not going to do what it needs to be done or stand our ground for certain things because we like, well, God going to take care of it, when we forget there's something that we need to do. So that was on my heart, today. So I wanted to pass that message along. Y'all kill me. Y'all be out here. When I watch everybody else's live, people be commenting. Everybody join, but don't nobody comment, because I don't know what y'all don't stay. Y'all join, and then y'all go, okay, that's just somebody talking, and keep going. And I'm guilty of it. I've done that to people too, but y'all say something. Join and be like, okay, no, I don't want to hear what they saying. But anyway, I still keep doing it because I thoroughly, thoroughly, thoroughly enjoy this. Hey, Reds. How you doing? So I got somebody that said something. I appreciate that. Okay, so Theron, hey, niece, how you doing, Theron? So she says she's cleaning, but she's listening. All right. You got to call me. We got to talk. I haven't talked to you in a while. But I appreciate you so much for joining. Okay, she's good. You know what, Theron? If we were to talk about our family, we get a whole bunch of people on here then, wouldn't we? But I wouldn't dare do it because I don't want nobody to come jump me. Anyway, so anyway, like I said, y'all don't realize, this is my counseling session. Y'all just don't know. This really helps me. And I think in the end, that's why a lot of people get on. Because it helps them. It's just a place that we can just talk. It don't matter if somebody really listening. You just get out here, drink a little bit, and talk. It's an old Starbucks cup, but anyway. So if you are new to my show, typically Reading to Feed the Mind, we discuss books. We talk about books. We have authors on. I have a couple of authors lined up. I have to update the calendar and everything. But I do have some authors that are coming on to discuss their books. But the basic format of my show is that the first Wednesday of every month is around male authors. So I talk about different books that are written by men. And yes, my podcast and my reading is primarily African-American authors. Do I don't like white authors? No. Have I read white authors? Yes. But I primarily read African-American authors to support them and to get them out there, right? So that's primarily, but I do have some books that I will discuss. I'm old school with my authors. I'm not really familiar with any new authors, but like John Grisham, and then it just goes out my head of some others. Because honestly, y'all, all these years, I primarily have been reading African-American, but I know it's some good Caucasian authors, but oh yeah, and then my daughter, oh man, I didn't know. I'm so proud. She just handed me this one, Think and Grow Rich. Yes, I have the virtual copy of this, and I have been reading it. I just got to finish it, but it's an awesome book. Anyway, so the first Monday, we discussed male authors. Last week, I had my cousin Hashim on, and he was talking about books that he's read, and he has his son reading. And I had wanted to get his son on today for the children's, because the second Wednesday of every month, we talk about literacy for children and youth. Right? And then the third Wednesday is spiritual. I know I kind of went a little spiritual today, but I just wanted to get the message out, y'all. You just can't just keep saying God got us. Yeah, he got us, but we got free will choice too of how we can fight against this. Anyway, and so third Wednesday is spiritual Wednesday. And then fourth Wednesday of every month is the book club Wednesday. Last month, we did Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. This month, we're doing This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. So if you haven't already got the book, y'all please get the book and join in the conversation with us. And yes, I still got to send my letter, get my strength up, my courage up. I sent it to Daniel Black because he is at Clark Atlanta, and he's right in the Atlanta area, so I need to follow up. But I did send a letter to him asking for him to come on the show, and I finished another one of his books. He writes in a way that be like, oh my Lord, really? It makes you think, right? But anyway, in his storyline, in his fiction, I haven't done any of his nonfiction yet, but that's next on my list to do. And so today, like I said, I wanted to have my younger cousin on. I was going to have him on and as a teenager, preteen teenager, and have him talk about the books and how he feels about reading, but I dropped the ball. So I will try to have him on next month. So what I did, I wanted to talk a little today because every time you turn around, maybe it's just me, but every time you turn around, I hear of someone famous who has written a children's book, right? And I'm like, everybody is writing a children's book. So I went to ChatGPT and I asked it to give me a list of the different people who have written children's books, different famous actors, musicians, and other celebrities who have written children's book. So if I name somebody who's a favorite of yours, maybe you can, Google and look them up. So Jamie Lee Curtis, we know Jamie Lee Curtis from a lot of different movies. What she did a Disney movie. Was it Switch? One of those Switch movies they remade. Freaky Friday. Freaky Friday was out when I was young, but then they remade it, and Jamie Lee Curtis did the remake version. That was in and then so she has a children's book, and also she was in Eddie Murphy's book, Trading Places. I think she was in Trading Places. If I'm wrong, y'all put out there, y'all let me know, but I think she was in Trading Places with Eddie Murphy. But anyway, she's written a book, Tell Me Again About the Night I Was Born. And that was written in 1996. Kristen Bell and Benjamin Hart. Not sure. I know the name Kristen Bell, but I can't think what they've been in. The World Needs More Purple People. That was in 2020. Reese Witherspoon. We all know Reese Witherspoon, but of course, Reese has been in so many. Legally Blonde. Thank you. My daughter's here, y'all. She don't want to be on camera, but that's okay. She wrote she was in Legally Blonde. That's just one. But her book was Busy Betty that she wrote in 2022. Tom Hanks. I didn't realize he had a children's book. Well, no. They listed it. It's called The Making of Another Major Motion Picture Masterpiece. He said, though this is an adult novel, he also contributed to children's stories within it. So maybe it has probably has a lot of pictures for slow adults. Henry Winkler, The Fonz. Y'all remember The Fonz. I'm dating myself, I don't care. But The Fonz, Happy Days. Hank Zipzer, The World's Greatest Underachiever. It was a series. That's a series of books, and that was written in 2003. Natalie Portman, I can't think of what she's been in, but she has Natalie Portman's Fables. And then Jim Carrey, we know Jim Carrey from Cable Guy, and he got his start in Living Color. And he wrote How Rollin' Rolls in 2013. So that would probably be something because he's so silly. I would imagine his book probably would be pretty funny and cute. Was Jim Carrey in Dumb and... I don't know. I don't think Jim Carrey was in Dumb and Dumber. But he's been in some movies that's been like, okay, that's real stupid. But it's Jim Carrey, let me tell you something. That was him. He was the fireman in Living Color. and he would always say, "Let me tell you something." He'd have his little teeth thing going. And so Chris Colfer, I'm not sure who he is, The Land of Stories. That was a series, and that was in 2012. Now, Octavia Spencer. Hey, Octavia Spencer has been in so much. Help me. She was in... Yeah, she had a couple of scary movies, I think. Octavia Spencer might have been in The Help, but I know y'all help me out. See, all y'all in and out people, help me out. What was in the Octavia Spencer in? Was she in? Yeah, she's in the Apple TV series right now, Truth Be Told, and I think that might be a little scary. But anyway, Hidden Figures. I thought she was in Hidden Figures. Okay, and The Help. She was in The Help. But anyway, her books are Randy Rhodes, Ninja Detective, and The Case of the Time Capsule Bandit. Those were written around 2013. So that would be cool to see. And then Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, no solo children's books, but they have contributed to collections. So they've just contributed to collections. And then in the musician category, Dolly Parton has Coat of Many Colors, and that was based on her famous song. Dolly Parton is pretty cool the way she turns her songs into, this one was a book, but a couple of her songs, I'm trying to think, was it Netflix that did a series? She had a whole series of movies that were centered around her song. Yes, I watched them. They were pretty good. And then Alicia Keys has a book entitled from one of her songs, Girl on Fire. And Jay Leno, If Roast Beef Could Fly. That's probably going to be some, quirky kind of stuff with Jay Leno. And then Will Smith has a children's book, Just the Two of Us, that's inspired by his song. And if you remember, his song was based around, I think, him and his son. So I would imagine that would be about what that was, probably centered around. Ricky Martin has Santiago the Dreamer in Land Among Stars. That was in 2013. And then Jimmy Buffett he wrote a book in 1991 called Trouble Dolls, and he has other books as well. Excuse me. Paul McCartney has a book. He wrote a book in 2019, Hey Granddude. And then he had another one, a follow-up, like Granddude's Green Submarine. So that would be pretty interesting. And then athletes and other celebrities. Among athletes and other celebrities, LeBron James has a book. He wrote one, I Promise, in 2020. And then Serena Williams, The Adventures of KK, it's spelled Q-A-I. So I think that's KK. And that was written in 2022. And then okay, Theron is saying play the movie The Cabin. I haven't seen that one. And then, okay, Barack Obama, amongst his books that he's written, he has a children's book of Thee I Sing, A Letter to My Daughters. Oh, I bet that's beautiful. That was written in 2010. And then Savannah Guthrie, I'm not sure who she is. She has Princesses Wear Pants. That was written in 2017. And then Terry Crews has a book, Come Find Me. Okay? And a lot of these books, the central theme is about kindness, perseverance, and imagination. And so the one thing that ChatGPT, because my friend Chat, did not give me, Lil Nas X wrote the book, C is for Country. So I have this one. And it was about, he just talked about, I read it a little while ago. So it's kind of like A is for Adventure and B is for Boots. And this celebration of country from Grammy award-winning rap superstar Lil Nas X. And It's Lil Nas X and Panny the Pony on a joyous journey with the alphabet. So it goes through the alphabet from sun up to sundown, from running with Mustangs to looking up a starry sky. This is a book for everybody. Lil Nas X words join Theodore Taylor III's bright illustrations and vast plains and cozy family dinners to make the country feel like home. So that's what this is. He just has little... he's going through the alphabet. So I won't do the whole thing, but it starts with A is for adventure. Every day is a brand new start. And then it's like, here I come. And then it's like B is for boots, whether they're big or small, short or tall. So that's pretty much what he's doing. He's going through the alphabet with a country theme on different things. And, as adults... Oh, okay. Thank you, Theron. She was telling me that Octavia Spencer played in the movie The Cabin. I think. Thank you, Theron. So, at least somebody talking to me. Anyway, anyway, Theron, if you want to come on down here and continue to clean, I could use a little help at home. But so that's what I really wanted to share in today's, the first part. I needed to really talk about some things that was on my heart and, changing my life and my mindset. Like I said, a lot of people not going to like me, but I'm so tired of holding my tongue, y'all. I really, it's like, look, you don't want this smoke. Keep talking, I'm going to put you on camera. I wish she would get on camera, but anyway, come on, get on camera because I wanted to talk about while you're here, you growing up and reading. Okay, so she gonna go on camera, y'all. So my daughter, I appreciate her coming. She was coming to support me, and because she's been chiding me about doing some things to extend my reach. So I was like, how about you just come up to the studio with me and help a sister out, So anyway, so while we're here, I want you to talk about, because I always talk about what an avid reader I've been. And I want you to share growing up, because she don't read now. She doesn't, and it's okay. So welcome you all, my daughter, my heart, my all in all, Ateria.
Hello, everybody.
So, she grown now, y'all. And it's just like, sometimes I feel like, what did I do wrong? Because it was so funny. When she turned 18 and went to college, I would say, well, Ontaria, when she would come home, let's go do this. And she was like, no. I said, well, come on, Ontaria, you want to do this? No. And so finally, one day I had to finally say, so how long you been waiting for the day that you could tell me no? She said, a long time. I was like, really? Was I that bad? But anyway, so share your experiences with reading, growing up, what you feel about it, how big of a difference do you think it really played in your life?
I think it was very important for critical thinking skills. It helped me think outside the box at a very young age. It triggered my imagination, probably.
Yeah.
Like, being able to picture things. You really pressed Judy Blume, so I read Judy Blume books. You pressed The Coldest Winter Ever, and I like that book. I really like that book. I will read that again. I mean, I'm at this big age, it probably wouldn't even be the same, but I'll read that again, and maybe some of the other stories that follow that, because I just ordered one on TikTok. You probably have this book, but it's a Sister Soldier book. I'll see if I can pull it up.
And you shouldn't have ordered it, because if I have it,
Well, hey, I can build my own library. So,
okay.
Reading to feed my mind.
Yes, you are. Okay, so let's talk about, so now this, and I'm telling you, I'm encouraging parents, right, of teenage girls, preteen girls. I would say if you have a daughter, especially African-American girls, if you have a daughter around the age of 13 to 16, I would strongly, strongly encourage you to pick up Sister Soldier's The Coldest Winter Ever. Because when she was a baby, I read this book in my book club. She was young. I don't know if she was a baby, but I know she was too young to read it. I read that book in my book club, and when I read it, I kept it. I made a mental note to make sure that when my daughter got in teenage years, I wanted her to read it, because I felt like that book was something that she needed to see another side of life, to explain it in a way that mama couldn't explain it, right? And I had her to read it, and we talked about it. So let's talk about it.
Talk about
The coldest winter ever.
while.
No.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. But do you think that book helped you make better decisions as a young teenage girl?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but it's just to sum it all up, don't be stupid over boys was kind of the story. So, yeah, I think it is important that young girls, coming into womanhood read it, because we can be stupid over men.
Oh, and you can read the book and still be stupid.
But, I mean, it just kind of...
stupid. You got to have stupid.
It shows you somebody else being stupid over a boy before you get the chance to do it. So then maybe you can kind of correct your actions.
And make better decisions.
And the book that I got that was on TikTok Shop, it's A Deeper Love Inside, the Portia Santiago story.
No, I don't have
Sister
that one.
Soldier.
Okay. Maybe Maybe we'll read it and you can come back on the show and talk about it.
You go.
Hey, Quanda comes on. She
know.
talks about it. But no, so I would strongly, because just the synopsis of what The Coldest Winter Ever is about, it's a story of a young girl whose parents, her father is really he's high-level drug dealer. And so she's used to this bling bling lifestyle. It's nothing for her to have all the top tennis shoes of that time. So I'm not going to name it. But, because now we're in a different time frame. But so this young lady is used to the top lifestyle, like how a lot of y'all perpetrate now. This girl was actually living that lifestyle. And so her life makes a shift. It makes a change. And so now she's forced to have to live a little different lifestyle, but she's trying to still hold on to that lifestyle. And I think the biggest thing that you see her going through is she's like you saying, being stupid for boys, and the decisions she's faced with. With entertainers, especially with these rappers, being impressed and trying to run after the rappers. And oh my God, there's a particular scene in there that just blew my mind. That's when I was like, okay, I want my daughter to read this so that you can understand it's not all what you think it is. And these rappers and these entertainers, not just rappers, as rappers in the book, but these basketball players, it's anybody, these actors, these young ladies, kind of like it puts you in mind a little bit of R. Kelly too.
P. Diddy. Cassie and P. Diddy is a perfect example. Just kind of letting whatever. I mean, I don't want to say too much. It's very controversial, but a lot of people could say she was okay. Not okay, but how can I phrase this without getting canceled? My mama looking at me like, just say it. So she, in a sense, allowed what happened to her in hopes of getting something in return, whether that be love, a career. I don't want to just say money, but, Cassie was a singer. She is a singer. I won't say was. She could probably still be making music, but it could have been, she allowed some of the things because of who he was.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's happening in this book, essentially. I got to read it again. It's been decades.
Yeah, but it is. It's how we compromise ourselves, right? For the sake of being. When you look at R. Kelly, that's so debatable. Stop. It's not debatable.
R. Kelly is a sick man.
He is. But you know what? A lot of geniuses are, unfortunately. And I'm not excusing it.
Yeah, people, it's double-sided because you have to separate the music from the artist. But if that's the case, are we separating the music from the artist and still listening to his music but don't like him? But you know what? In all honesty, y'all, if you want to separate, we have not fully separated ourselves from R. Kelly.
You may not listen to R. Kelly's music, but if you want to fully separate yourself from R. Kelly, it's a bunch of people. You would not be listening to Jennifer Hudson, Isley, Ronald Isley. Come on now.
And for the younger generation, you probably wouldn't be listening to Summer Walker because what's that guy's name? I can't even think anymore. It just went blank. Summer Walker's baby daddy is a famous producer who was trained by R. Kelly.
See,
His
that's what I'm
mom
saying.
works really close. Why can't I think of that man's name?
So, yeah, you do want to, it does hurt. Because I was, R. Kelly all day. And now when you think about those
London
songs.
on the Track. That's his name.
Huh?
The producer name is London on the Track. His mom is super cool. R. Kelly did business with him. And if I'm not mistaken, R. Kelly played a role in London on the Track's music career, like teaching him piano maybe. Just getting him into music. So,
But you can't cancel people through affiliation, though. Because he was younger at the time, and he might have not even had no kind of idea what R. Kelly was doing.
yeah, I'm just saying if you want to, like you said, if you want to really
but I mean, if you're
separate,
really trying to separate
really wanna
yourself
separate, just
from him and who he was, as a person. But R. Kelly, and like I said, I'm not excusing it. I'm not. But I will say this. When you read Sister Soldier and you see how those young girls follow and get caught up with him, a lot of people, a lot of times you ask yourself, well, wait, where, with Aaliyah, we've had debating conversations around Aaliyah. Where was her family? How can you say?
Because her family be watching at all times. Her family, I don't know. People say where was Aaliyah's family, but Aaliyah's family is very active. Like they will be careful speaking on Aaliyah.
I mean, I'm not, all I'm saying is I had a daughter. My running joke with me and my girlfriends that have daughters and stuff, we high five each other. We be like, Lord, girl, we kept off the pole. If you can keep off the pole, you've done a good job.
That's
you know what I'm
no
saying?
shame to any strippers wearing that.
And no, but the funny thing is, y'all, this baby over here, I felt like I did so good. I tried to do my best. But her favorite movie is The Players Club. Okay. When she's like, oh my God, Players Club, and every time it's on, she go watch it. So sometimes that make you go, well, wait a minute, what did I do? But your kids are gonna be your kids, and I love the Players Club too, but it just tickles me in all my try to do rightness that her favorite movie is going to be The Players Club, right? But anyway, so that's I don't have any judgment. I can't speak on anybody's whatever. But you do have to ask yourself in some regards that these young ladies had some form of accountability for it, because when you're 16, 17 years old, you do get impressed. You get impressed with these stars and, and everything. And, mine was Jermaine Jackson, right? Let's get serious. Ooh, let's get serious. Michael. I loved Michael, but when Jermaine Jackson had that CD out, and no, Lord, I said a CD. It wasn't no CD. It was a cassette tape. And I remember, y'all, College Park, Turtles. For my Atlanta people, y'all remember that Turtles on Old National Highway. Jermaine Jackson came to that Turtles. And oh my God, my cousin Ann picked me up and brought me out to that Turtles so I could see Jermaine Jackson. And he was there, and oh my God, and when he left, I wasn't able to get close to him, but I saw him, and I was like, oh my God, it's Jermaine. But this is where the whole Charlene daughter pride came in. When he got in that limo and he was driving off, oh my God, people were running after the limousine, and I sat back, I was like, nah. I was like, I'm not finna be running after no limo now. Yeah, I love Jermaine. And I was probably no more than like 13, 14 years old. But I knew enough to be like, no, I ain't finna run after the limo. I love the man, but what am I going to run after the limo for, right? Mm-hmm. So I always had that old woman common sense thing. It was only so far. And I was exposed to the music industry locally because my cousin, Theresa Hightower, I'm not going to cry, rest her soul, was in the music industry. And I started in the 4th grade, 8 years old, going to dinner restaurants because I could go because it was serving food. And Scarlett O'Hara, I know I'm dating myself, but all our old Atlanta people, Scarlett O'Hara, Underground Atlanta, old one, she used to perform there. And I got to meet the Manhattans. You know, let's just kiss. I was all under the table because they were, you know, picking at me while they were performing and stuff like that. But anyway, because I was a little kid in the restaurant. But so I had exposure to some of that stuff. And like I said, I've been an old spirit, excuse me, listening to stories, you know, and watching movies and things like that. So I always had that head on my shoulder that I was not gonna, couldn't nobody make me, you know, I wasn't gonna be that impressed with you. I was crazy about Luther, but I was grown then. But even in that, it's only so far I'm gonna go with you, okay? Yes, I love your music, but no, I don't need to, you know.
You got your heart broken by Brian McKnight.
No.
I'm just kidding. We don't like Brian McKnight around these parts. He's a deadbeat.
We don't have time for the Brian McKnight story.
We could go on and on about Brian McKnight.
He didn't break my heart because I was not a overly enthused fan of his, no way. You know, and you know what? But I'm going to tell this story because I don't care.
You shouldn't, because he's a very horrible person. He does not acknowledge his first 3 children. He's moved on to a new marriage. Doesn't even acknowledge his first children.
Okay, so
drag him.
So now, stuff like that I don't get into because that's what they saying. Right? Even this was circa 2003.
He publicly did it.
Back then, he was an asshole because he wasn't, I think he had cheated on his wife and he really wasn't, whatever wife he was with at that time. So he was partly, we didn't really cancel people when we talked about him bad, right? So I'm going to share this story with y'all and then we going to go off because she brought him up.
Catch this
I don't care. I hope he do hear me. That's how I feel about Brian McKnight.
Yep.
And this is why he's not successful today.
Exactly.
Because he shits on his fans.
And his
I
family, his children.
Well, I ain't there. I can't attest to that, but I can attest to this. This is what happened, y'all. Circa 2003. I'm at the Essence Festival. I went to Essence Festival with one of my coworkers. We were like best friends. We hanging out at Essence Festival, right? Literally, you all. This was probably 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I think I was double deucing, walking down. Were we double deucing today? Hurricanes, the little hurricanes. Anyway, I'm walking down Bourbon Street, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So anybody that's been to New Orleans during Essence Festival, y'all know it's not a lot going on Bourbon Street in the afternoon, right? I'm literally walking down Bourbon Street, and I look, and Brian McKnight and 2 of his associates are standing on the curb of Bourbon Street, just standing there. And it's some ladies that had walked by, and I had been drinking, so I might have been double deucing that day with my little hurricanes. And I whispered to my coworker, I was like, hey, my friend, I was like, that's Brian McKnight. And I'm whispering because I'm selfish in my stuff. Because I wanted a picture, and I knew if them women had walked by and hadn't noticed Brian McKnight, I wasn't finna be loud because I wanted my picture. So I noticed him, and he was on the phone, okay? And so I walked over to the guy that was next to him, and I was like, hey, can I get a picture? You know, that's all I wanted. And so the guy was like, you can get a picture of him, but you can't get a picture with him. And I said, okay, bet, because some of the scandal stuff has started happening where people would take pictures with different people and then swear they were dating. So I understood why he said I could get a picture with him, but I couldn't get a picture of him, right? So I said, bet. So by this time, y'all, Brian McKnight had got off the phone. Right? And he was still, he was standing facing me, so I was to the left of him. And he heard what I was saying. He saw me standing there, but he was looking off to the right. And I was like, okay. I said, can I at least get him to look at me? And he literally, I wish to God I had that picture. He literally
You said you was gonna walk around with it in your wallet. What
I
happened?
had for years. I did. And he turned around. He turned around like this, and took the picture. And I can't honestly remember if he said it or one of the guys said it. It ain't like he working. And I was like, what? I walked away. I was like, what you mean it's not like he working? He's Brian McKnight. He's always damn working as long as I can put his CD in my car and listen to his music.
Well, guess what? He's not working no more.
And I walked off and my friend laughed. He was like, because I walked off, I said, he a weak falsetto anyway. Shit. That's what I said when I walked off. Now, that was one instance. That was July 4th weekend, circa 2003. New Orleans, right? It ain't like he working. So I said that, I was like, okay, I was whatever. Who cares? It's Brian McKnight. August, the same year, I am in Las Vegas. I had not told this story to any of my friends because really I was like, fuck Brian McKnight, and kept on going, right? But my girlfriend, we were all in Vegas to attend a wedding of a girlfriend. So it was several of my girlfriends up there. So one of my girlfriends went to dinner. She had some friends that lived in Vegas. So she met them and went to dinner. She came back to our hotel room. Guess what, y'all? I saw Brian McKnight. And she said, I tried to get his autograph, but he told me he wasn't working. And I said, well, he told you what? And she said, well, he said it wasn't like he was working. And I said, this, like Kamala Harris, this tells everybody this. How do you tell your fans when they come to you and try to acknowledge you, even if you don't want to sign an autograph? But don't tell your fans the only reason why you are who you are, that you ain't working.
And that's why his fans are far and few between now.
I mean, because if he, too, y'all.
Few and far, whatever, he ain't got none.
East Coast, West Coast. And I promise you, I had not told them anything because I really had forgotten about it because I just said, you lame anyway, right? And just went on. But after he said that to her, I promised myself, you ain't working, bruh. And I'm never spending another dime on any CDs that you put out. I'm never going to any concert that you are a part of, right? I don't care if him and Eric Benet were in concert together. Oh, God, this is so hard to say. Eric, if you hear me, I'm sorry. I love you. But if him and Eric Benet, and for those who know me, know I love me some Eric Benet, if they were in concert, I would not go because I don't want a dime of my money to ever go to him because you don't do that to people. You have a right if it's not a convenient time, if you don't want to sign it, if you don't want to, you have that right. But don't tell me you ain't working. Don't do that to me. It's very disrespectful and a large part of why he is not successful now.
Yep,
because
and the fact that he dissed his own flesh and blood.
And he was a cheater on his wife. All of that. He has not done anything.
I bet he'll kill for somebody to ask for it. You know what? I doubt it. Because one thing about it, like I'm saying this about his children because Brian McKnight will publicly come on a platform and it only say my only 2 kids. Like I only have 2 children.
I've never seen that, but you've seen it.
I've seen him do it. And he has like 2 or 3 other, because one of them I think is a guy, he's probably like around my age and he speaks out about it. Like, my daddy ignoring me, y'all. Like, it's very sad to see. So he's not living a successful life. He probably won't ever be successful again.
Because then he's a weak falsetto. I don't care. I don't care. He's a weak falsetto. He has nothing.
Thanks for having me, Mom.
Against Eric Benet. He cannot even touch Eric Benet. Y'all tell him I'm talking about him. So when he come to Atlanta, I can say, hey. I made your daddy so mad in a concert one time. I had been drinking, and I looked at him in all seriousness. And I was like, look at here. If Eric Benet is outside signing autographs. I said, I'm going to let him touch my butt. Your daddy was like, really, Stacy? I said, oh, I'm just kidding.
Daddy, if you're still watching, I'm sorry. Because he texted me and told me he was watching.
I was being so silly. I was really being silly. And I said, I'm going to let him touch my butt. You know? But anyway, y'all, I've had a good time. I thank you. This has really helped my soul. It has really helped my spirit. Theron, thank you for joining and chatting. Thank you, everybody who joined in.
Even if you just joined in and hopped right back out, we get it.
Oh, yeah. Hey, like I said, I've done it too. I'm not interested. You know, I guess I'm not at that interesting enough level. But, hey, I guess I need to talk about more junk. No, I'm kidding. But more Brian McKnight. And you know what, y'all? I'm gonna have a series because my girlfriends told me, Stacy, stop talking about books and talk about sex. Because I'm always the one giving people tip. Have y'all tried the grapefruit? Have y'all tried to do?
You can cut my camera now. It's time for me to go.
Anyway, thank y'all for joining. Keep reading to feed your mind. Next week, we're going to be discussing spiritual books on healing. Different books that's out there, okay? How it's in your mind and what we can do on healing. All right? Talk to you later. Keep reading, feed the mind. Love you. Have a good one. That's my baby. Y'all hear him singing to me?
And I never knew could be
All right, see you later.
I never knew what my life was for, but now that you're here, I know for sure.
I never knew till I looked in your eyes.
No, babe.
I wasn't complete till the day you walked into my